What are you doing? Get back over there.
Have you ever wondered how to clean your regularly used kegs? If you have, stick around. I'll show you how I do it. My name's Pierre and this is Simple Homebrew. This is a keg. These kegs are made for kegging your beer. So if you make a brew, a home brew, and you don't want to put them in bottles, you can put them in kegs, just like this one. They are controlled under pressure. They can actually be used to carbonate your beer and get you to the right level of carbonation you want by injecting CO2 into the tank at your own rate. So with that, I've actually had a beer in this keg just recently, so I'm just quickly cleaning it out. I'm not going to take all the parts apart and all that, which you don't need to do, because it has been used and has been sealed. So it's still clean inside. It's just got a little bit of beer left in it, which is still quite drinkable to tell you the truth, but I just tipped it out. So what I do is I put a Mangrove Jack's cleaner detergent, which is sodium carbonate, which is just one basic ingredient that it uses. With this, I put in 2 tablespoons of this powder product into a steel container, or a container that can handle any kind of belting around, whatever, it doesn't really matter, as long as it goes into a container that you can clean. Mix it with 5 litres of cold water and mix it until the little white beads dissolve and disappear. Then I pour it into my keg. The reason why I do that is when you put this powder, which I'll show you, pour some into a spoon here. This powder here, when you pour that into water, it doesn't dissolve immediately. And what can happen is it can go up into the little cracks and little areas of your keg. And in the keg, it might not dissolve in that area. So what I do is I dissolve it first. Make sure it's dissolved in a pot or a pan or a container, and then stir it nicely and smoothly. Grab my funnel, which I have here, and I just put it into the top of my keg, straight in the top. Now I've already done it, so I can't show you. I had a lot of other things to do today, so I got distracted, but I'll show you what it looks like and how it's finished. So I filled up my keg and I leave it for about 10 minutes in the keg, minimum. Don't leave it in forever, because it is like a carbonate. It is a sodium, it's like an acid almost. It will stain your metal parts in your keg, so just don't do that. So now, what I'll do now is I'll grab some CO2 and inject it into the container. I'll show you. I'll get back to you. I'll show you. I'll show you here. I'll show you what you can see. If you can see inside there, I've already got my cleaner in there. It's ready to go. It's already been in there for a half an hour or so. It's done probably pretty much most of its work. So now I'll pop the cap on, and with the cap, I will just seal her off with it, just like that. Make sure it's sealed. It's not very tight. And going now, grab some carbonation. Can you see CO2? Now I'll just grab some CO2. I'll put in about 10 pounds of pressure, probably less. We'll crack it back and make it a bit less than 10 pounds. Okay. So there's an in and an out. The out is for dispensing beer. The in is for gassing and filling, or gassing really. So I'll just whack it on the gas side. We'll crank up the volume a bit, So now I'm filling it up with a little bit of CO2, not filling it, you know, chock-a block hard or anything like that, just making sure it's full, or it's got pressure in there. When you hear it, that's got pressure. So you don't need a lot, maybe 5 pounds, just enough to get you to be able to push it out of the other or the outline. Now with using that, I used this just a minute ago to grab a sample of beer to see what it tastes like, to find out how carbonated it is. That's the reason why now I'm doing this way, because it's not overly carbonated. So the reason why that is because I really don't know why. But anyway, I'm doing it like this because I need more carbonation in my beer. So I want to fill up my my keg. I want to fill up my keg so that I can carbonate it my way. So I'm just going to pump out the CO2, the cleaning solution that's in there. I'm going to actually pump it all out now through the pipe. So basically this has a pickup tube that goes all the way to the bottom of the actual keg. And in the bottom of the keg there's a little indent, which I'll show you in a picture. And from that, I'm pumping out all the cleaning solution, so I can then rinse this out with cold water, and then I will sanitize it afterwards. So by doing that too, I'm also pumping cleaning solution throughout the whole keg, in through the pickup pipe everywhere. And on the outside, I'll wash it with sanitizer. Now I've just rinsed this keg with just pure tap water, just cold tap water. It's got a little bit of water in the bottom still, which is fresh and clean. I'll put the cap back on, which is, these are by the way called Cornelius kegs. Funny enough, that's my middle name. Truly, that is my middle name, if you're interested. So now what I'll do is I'll repressurize this again with CO2. That in, that's in. So crack her open. You can hear it kick in with a bit of CO2. Don't need too much. Great, that leaks. No, that's all right, it's not leaking now. So now I'll get my gun again, which is still sitting in cleaning solution, and empty the water out through the pickup tube, which is now getting rinsed by the clean water. Now, this is a 3-part way of cleaning it. I used to just sanitize after cleaning, but the sanitizer never really cleaned. Well, it did, but it would contaminate the sanitizer too much. I couldn't use it for anything else. So I would stop and clean it with fresh water first, then go to the sanitizer later, which works so much better. And I can get to use the sanitizer much more often. So once I've done this, I'll get back to you guys. With the sanitizer, it's a different thing. The sanitizer can vary, but I use StellarSan. With StellarSan, I use 15 ml of StellarSan to 10 litres of water, just tap water. That's the recommended dose, and that's what I use. And it works really well. So what I'm going to do is just pour half of it into my keg, just like this. Now I use my fermenter as a cleaning vessel as well. I don't clean metal things in it because metal things scratch, but I do clean all my plastic bits in there. So that's about half. What I'll do now is put the Cornelius keg lid back on again. I'll quickly rinse and StellarSan. Oh my God. Pop the rubber seal back on. Now, next time I do this, I will actually be pulling my keg apart and checking all my rubber seals. At the moment, it's still sealing well. But I did this, when I first bought this keg, I did a full clean of the actual keg and changed all the seals. Now, I'm just rinsing that. It actually, apparently, you only need to have this in contact with the surface of any part for 30 seconds, no more. Doesn't matter. 30 seconds, we go for 60 seconds if you want to really be sure. It's the same thing, just don't leave it in there for, well, you can actually. StellarSan won't hurt it really that much. It just Might stain it a little bit, but it's fine, absolutely fine. So now I've shaken this up, coated every surface pretty much. I will do more soon before I actually put my brew in, and do the same thing again. You don't need to see me do this, so I'll just do this and I'll get back to you. So, wrong side. So I'll do the same process. I'll put the serving gun through. I'll put that on the out. Whoop. And now all I'm doing now is pumping my StellarSan through the tube of my serving gun, so it gets a clean too, as well as my pickup tube in the actual keg. So now we're at a point where it's sanitised internally, and I just have to do the outside before I actually serve myself up there. The other thing I'm going to do too, and it might be a surprise to you, I'm now going to not open this again. This is staying shut because I've now sealed it. I'm going to fill it with CO2 and purge the air out, and then do a closed transfer from my keg, a closed transfer from my fermenter to my keg, and I'll do that in my next video. I put about 10 pounds, I'm going to transfer it 2 pounds of pressure, so I'm not going to go really hard at it, but this will just fill it up. I'll just put a little bit of CO2 in it just so I can purge it. CO2 will settle to the bottom, and the oxygen and air will come to the top. So I'll be punching out CO2. It doesn't take much to purge the oxygen out of your keg. So the other good thing about pressurizing is you can test for leaks as well before you transfer. All right guys, I have now got my keg pressurized, sealed, not leaking. I have my trusty sanitizer in a bottle here. I'm just going to go over all the little gaps just to make sure there's no bubbles coming out. We need to make sure it does not leak at all. And looking at that, I have no leaks coming out of this little fella. Just make sure. Nothing. So yeah, sanitizer, as you know, it bubbles up. It's foamy. And when you spray it on things, it'll foam up if you've got gas coming out. So if the gas comes out, you've got a problem. So that's all I have to... So hopefully this helps you guys. It's a simple way of cleaning your... So hopefully this helps you guys. It's a simple way of cleaning out your keg. It's not a high labour job. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to do, and it gives you a fully sanitised, clean keg every time. So I recommend about maybe the 6th brew if you haven't got problems with your keg having a build-up of hops and debris. Clean it out, check the rubbers, make sure they're all sealed and clean, and do that once every 6 brews. Look after your keg because it looks after you. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I hope this video helps you. Catch you in the next one. See ya.